Apple is based in Cupertino, California, and develops and sells consumer electronics, computer software, and personal computers. Apple's best-known hardware products are the Mac line of computers, the iPod, the iPhone, and the iPad. It has a market cap of $555 billion, a price-to-earnings ratio of 13.4, and a dividend yield of 2%. Radio. Are we starting with you, Paul, and your thoughts on Apple?
Well, we can take turns. Let me take this one. I mean, Apple, I think, it's obviously the world's largest and most valuable company. $555 billion is, well, how much is that? That's like sort of 4 trillion rand. Makes it sort of 4.5 times larger or thereabouts than even our largest companies. So what do you say about...
puts it into context.
Yeah. Look, it's an incredible company. It's been fantastically successful with its product development, makes money from the devices. As it's sold more and more devices, its margins have actually widened. And these devices, which are made by Foxconn in China and elsewhere, they're very big on the design, but they are the premium products, and we know the world's going mobile and the world's moving away from PCs to tablets, so they're perfectly positioned, not only out of good fortune, they are making the market. I mean, their products dominate what people want.
Do they dominate what people want, and can they sustain their position, or is there a lot of blue sky built into this model, Tshepo?
Look, I think those are two separate discussions. Do they dominate the market right now? Definitely. You only have to look at their margins, you have to look at their market share. You're looking at tablets, you're looking at the iPhone. I think the iPhone is the most successful selling smartphone around at some pretty decent margins.
Do you use the iPhone?
I don't.
Do you use the iPhone?
I've got one of those, yep.
We'll tell you our biases. I use a Samsung, and we'll chat about Samsung just now.
I'm just doing an on-the-ground survey here.
Apple, whether it can continue its success is debatable. I think if you look at some of the numbers, for them to continue growing at the pace that they are would be impressive. I actually feel sorry for Tim Cook. Just to grow in double digits would be impressive.
Well, you know what they say, when you're at the top, there's only one way down.
Yeah, look, the list of companies that have at one point or another been the world's largest doesn't make for very good reading, because many of them have sort of fallen into a period of low or slow growth, and I'm thinking Microsoft and Cisco in this environment particularly. But I think Apple is different. I mean, you can see in that share price where it tops out there at $700 a share. That's the high point. Not all that long ago. It falls all the way back to $580 in the last few days. It's been strengthening. But this is the 5-year chart, so you can see how well it has done. For me, the key really is how well does the iPhone 5 sell? Because that is ultimately going to dictate the earnings for the next 2 to 3 years, and particularly in countries like China. So the whole business model
hinges, in your opinion, on the iPhone 5?
That's the most important issue. The iPad mini, though, is also very important, because what I'm hearing from the market is that the iPad mini has been extremely popular, and that it is dominating sales of tablets to such an extent that the larger iPad sort of feels a bit elephantine when you've got it. So young people are going to go for that, and then obviously the Macs and the iTunes and all of that is cream on the cake.
Hot or not on Apple, Tshepo?
Not hot for me. That's a 13 PE on some serious margins. So from my perspective, I think those margins can only come down. I don't think Apple's going to fall out of bed at all. But yeah, not hot for me.
Hot or not, Paul?
Too big.
No, definitely hot for me. I mean, a lot of people say, well, with Steve Jobs gone, this can't possibly continue. But the key design individual is a Brit called Johnny Ive, who's the main person who's the industrial designer that came up with the devices. People talking about him as a future CEO of the company. So there's, kind of there and thereabouts. For me, 10 years forward, Apple will just have rolled out, televisions, all sorts of other consumer electronic products.
Did I miss it? Did you say hot or not?
Definitely hot.
Definitely hot.
Best in the business.